Greetings, my dear beloved children. So let's continue to discuss what happens to the fragment of the human soul that after physical death ends up in the astral world. As soon as they realize how things are, they begin to adapt to a new life by looking around. In the case where we study the soul fragment of this good and decent person, it reaches the middle astral level, which is inhabited by the soul fragments of the overwhelming majority of average people, obedient and responsible. Gradually, they learn that they can only survive on their maternal energy and begin to look for donors in the physical bodies. And there are many such donors on the planet. There are those whose consciousness is controlled by society, church, family. In a word, those who follow the mainstream by following age-old customs and traditions. As a result, this fragment of the human soul continues to live in the usual way, but in the subtle world this time. It finds that many astral beings are quite satisfied with this way of life and enjoys expanding its circle of donors more and more by feeding energy into its usual world. But our character finds it unfair to lead the same life, but in a rather deficient way. And then it tries to find ways out of this situation. As the soul particle has a consciousness, it also has the freedom to choose to progress or to remain at the same stage of development. And it chooses the former. It has the possibility to visit other astral levels, to learn about other energies, and to obtain information for them and from them. Of course, this is possible within certain limits, according to the universal law, like attracts alike. Therefore, the soul particle of this human can descend to just the upper sub-level of the lower astral and ascend to the lower sub-level of the higher astral. However, they only need to understand the difference between these levels. Since at the subtle level, there are no conventional things like masks and hypocrisy, which are commonly used by incarnated humans. All these kinds of energy are apparent and perceived more vividly in a more concentrated form. And the astral being, the soul fragment of our character, is horrified by the detestable things typical of the lower astral, whereas the energy of the lower sub-level of the higher astral, on the contrary, seems to be more exquisite and more attractive to them than those who dominate the layer where they now exist. They interact with the higher astral beings who share the information they have. These contacts gradually raise their vibrational frequency, and they turn to other givers on earth, the more spiritually advanced people whose energy seems close to their own. In this way, they become higher and higher until they reach the very last sub-level of the higher astral, where they get the truth revealed in all its splendor. At this stage, their one and only desire is reunion with the soul and transmission to other levels of existence, where they can reflect on all they have experienced on earth and in the astral world, as well as prepare for the next incarnation. Of course, their dream comes true, for their soul is also eager to restore its wholeness and embrace its priceless particle lost in the astral. So Here is the happy ending to the fairy tale, dear ones. It is true, to be fair, that in the astral world, the soul particles of humans are often intended to fill in the gaps in divine knowledge that they have failed to acquire on earth. We will stop here for today. The Absolute Father, who loves you beyond measure, has spoken to you. This message was channeled by Marta, and it was read for you by Adriana.